Let's get started making some pivot tables. You'll notice that we're using the new version of Microsoft Office for Mac. We chose to upgrade to the new version especially for pivot tables because the pivot table feature works very differently in the new version and it's actually a lot better. It's more similar to the PC version. If you're a Hampshire employee and you need the new version, just call the help desk and we can install it for you. To start making a pivot table, the first thing you need is a spreadsheet of data. That spreadsheet needs to have a header row with clear labels, and it can't have any gaps in the data. If you have any blank cells, it's going to cause a problem. If we're ready to begin, we can just go up to the Data menu and choose Pivot Table. It's going to guess at what data we want included in the pivot table. You'll see a little dotted line around the outside of the data range that it guessed. In our case, it guessed correctly. If it didn't guess correctly, you can click this button here and then click, hold, and drag your mouse to select the data range that you want. I'm not going to do it now since it did guess, but you can change the data range if you need to. It's also going to ask us if we want the pivot table in a new worksheet or if we want to put it in the existing worksheet, which would be the one we have here. I'd like it in a new worksheet, so I'm going to choose that and click OK. This brings us to a new worksheet. We've got an outline area here where a pivot table is going to go, and we have our pivot table builder right here. This is what's new in the 2011 version of Excel. Just to go back to our purchases worksheet, what I'd like to show in this pivot table is the amount of money we spent in each budget number. So I'm going to go back to my pivot table builder, and we're going to want the budget number, to go in the row area. It's going to be a row label because we want totals for each budget number. So I have two choices here. I can check budget and it's going to guess where I want to put it. In this case it actually guessed wrong. It put it in the values here. Or I can just drag it into the row labels area. And you'll see that it gave us a list of each budget number that we had in our spreadsheet. Next, we want to have the amounts for each budget number. We want that to go here in the values area. So we're going to go over here to the field name section, grab the amount field name and drag it down to values. And you'll see that it took the amounts and it's automatically added up for us the amount we spent in each of these budget numbers. You'll notice that if I click outside the pivot table, that pivot table builder is going to go away. To get it back, just click back inside the pivot table and it'll pop back up. Let's say that now we want to change our mind and we want to look at totals for each vendor instead of each budget number. All I need to do is uncheck budget and that'll take it out, and I'm going to take the vendor field name and drag it down to the row labels. And now it's giving me totals for each of the vendors that were in the spreadsheet. It's automatically adding them all up.